So this is our second episode of our new podcast, Showcased. We brought on a local business owner for our second guest. We've been working with this guy since the start of his company, but we've kind of known each other for a while now at this point. And the guest is Austin Calladine, the co-founder of Sweet Nutrition Canada. So thanks for joining us, Austin.
Thanks a lot for having me, Josh. Yeah, like you mentioned, it's been a long, great relationship. Obviously, we initially launched our protein donuts and baked goods in your stores. I think it was just over 2 years ago now. So obviously a lot has changed since then. But yeah, we've obviously grown as business partners, and our products hopefully have gained the traction of many here in Saskatoon. So
yeah, it's pretty cool, like how you guys started out just like basically serving like Saskatoon and area, and then like it might have been like even less than a year, you were just like everywhere, it seemed like.
Yeah, you know, it was we kind of just quit our jobs pretty quick and instantly like that. And, you know, Casey and I took off to Costco actually that day and began practicing recipes in my kitchen. And from there, it was basically, you know, launch a website and get it into as many hands as possible. So that ranged from protein donuts, we had bowls, brownie bites, muffins, you kind of know everything we had there.
Yeah, yeah, well, let's back it up a bit and get, for people who don't know what like Sweet Nutrition is and stuff, let's give them like kind of the full story. So you have a partner on this.
Yeah, Casey Parker, he's from Regina. We met playing hockey. So we worked for a local supplement company here, TC Nutrition in Saskatoon. And after that was over, we started off our own venture here, and we just saw a big wave of kind of healthier snack options down in the U.S., so kind of wanted to bring something similar down to Canada, and that started off with, like I mentioned, the bowls, the donuts, and things like that. Just I guess a lot of people weren't too familiar with having something that tastes good, that's actually good for you with like high quality of ingredients. So
yeah, because it wasn't just that it tasted good, and it wasn't just that it had good macros. It also had like natural ingredients, which is kind of like unique.
Yeah, exactly. And that was kind of the one thing we actually switched over from when we got from the protein donuts to our now plant-based cookies, is that we used an ingredient in the protein powder that was sucralose, and we just wanted to go more into the natural pathway. And so now we don't use any added protein, just the natural sources from like the peanut butter, for instance, in our peanut butter cookies.
Yeah, you guys like are more of like a food company at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so you and Casey played hockey together way back in the day.
That's right.
And then how did you end up getting the job together at TC Nutrition?
Well, I was working at Saskatoon Hyundai, actually selling cars, and Casey was in school. And from there, I guess we both met Tony and started working for him, just kind of like part-time. That kind of grew more and more as their company grew. So yeah, we were doing like a lot of marketing and things like that for his company. And, you know, obviously you see kind of the back end of the business being behind Tony, and just saw like what a great job he did as far as, you know, growing that business here locally and outwards. So kind of just had our own idea in mind, and wanted to get something going. So we figured that it was too hard to kind of, as you probably know, to start something on the side and put a lot of your focus into that. So we just kind of wanted to dive head first.
Yeah, which like it is tough to do it like kind of half-assed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So like, yeah, like you said, like Tony is a great guy to like work with and kind of see the behind the scenes stuff, right? He was like, I mean, he'd already been going for a couple of years, but still like a young company. So you got to see everything that would go into that. And, you know, you learn a lot from being a part of a young company. And
For sure.
You get to like see some of the mistakes happen firsthand, so you know what not to do.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was a great learning experience, and I think you kind of have to go through things like that. And you know, it was really beneficial for us to see like the growing pains, or just like I guess the benefits too of a young new company. So definitely helped a lot. Yeah,
it's pretty cool to me like how many people are coming out of Saskatoon and starting these things that are actually taking off, right?
Yeah,
like because TC also exploded. They're super popular now, and like as much as I don't like to talk about our competitors too much, like, you know, he's in all the Popeye stores now. So are you. Like there's 150 of them or something, which like whatever. They have more stores than us. But yeah, like it's super cool to just see all these young people actually like making it happen. It's sweet.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you guys left. You basically just decided time to do your own thing.
Yeah.
And so like, where did the idea for donuts come from first? Because you started with like that was the feature, right?
Yeah,
like
that was the best seller from the start.
Did one of you guys think of it, or?
We had a big menu. Like we had like a Shopify website, and you could order like a bunch of different options. And like Casey and I were literally whipping up these bowls, these muffins, everything in my kitchen with the help from like my grandma. And
which adds a nice little touch to the
yeah,
story.
exactly. But then it was, he would go back to Regina on the weekends because we did local deliveries in Saskatoon and Regina. So he would drive all the way home, deliver all the Regina orders, and I would drive around Saskatoon and deliver all the Saskatoon and surrounding area. So
Yeah, because like when you're starting out and you have literally no money, all your money's in that, you have to do all that yourself,
Everything.
right? Like you can't
Yeah.
pay somebody to deliver it. So you got to make
Exactly.
the product, market the product, sell the product, deliver the product. It
exactly.
was probably the two of you.
Yeah, just the two of us. And I mean, yeah, it was a lot of work, but you kind of have to go through that yourself. It's like you said, there's not a lot of operating cash and cash flow coming into the business as such a young startup. So that was the biggest thing, and it's still like that. So
Yeah. So you guys started with donuts, and then like you said, there was bowls, and the bowls were kind of like, they're kind of like yogurt based, were they not?
Yeah, it was a Greek yogurt, Costco finds, and we would mix up our protein powder and different ingredients we used inside there. But yeah, like you see a lot of those trendy shops in the U.S. that have all these different like cool things that are being posted on Instagram, and it was a simple matter of testing some out, and they're like, hey, these taste great, so let's bring it here.
Yeah, yeah. Like there was one that made the yogurt look kind of rainbowy. It was like a confetti cake or something. What was it?
Funny story, actually. So we put like sugar-free sprinkles on top, and the reason it turned into a rainbow was because they actually just melted inside.
They
So
just dissolved.
Yeah.
Well, it looked cool.
It looked cool, but like what we actually had in mind just completely just defeated it. So
That was not it.
yeah, that was not it.
Okay, so you had those, the donuts. You did cookies for a bit.
Yeah.
Those were super good.
Yeah, they were like the stuffed ones, but the labor was just insanely high.
Too much.
Yeah, way too much.
Yeah, because when you're doing like a food product like that, like I remember when we were carrying them, they were so popular. But like the issue was if you ordered like a little bit too much because there was no preservatives, no anything, which is all good.
Yeah.
Then they were moldy.
Exactly,
Right? They went from like good to like moldy in like a 12-hour span. Like the shelf life was longer, but all of a sudden they were just bad.
Yeah, exactly. I remember texting you, be like, "Hey, how'd they do?" And you'd be like, "Oh, look, 3/4 of them sold great, and the rest went moldy." It's like, oh crap. Like,
yeah. And that was like, it was tough because like some weeks we'd get them and like they'd be gone in a couple hours. So then we didn't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So the next time we'd order like double, and then that was, we were just finding the sweet spots.
It was just so hard. Like I said, you have to go through things like that in order to learn, and that's kind of what brought us to where we are right now. So
Yeah. So at this point, when you guys were doing it, you guys were doing like different donut drops all the time. So who was coming up with all the new flavors? Like, were you guys actually in the kitchen, like whipping stuff up, or did you guys have somebody at this point?
We'd look at kind of like the months, and like October, like the pumpkin spice trend, and the summery flavors and stuff like that. So near Christmas, I remember we had like a what was it? After 8 and like turtle and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, you look at the donuts, and like the base of the donut was really clean, like the majority of the topping, but then you add like the turtles and things like that, and it kind of gets away from the healthy baking. So
Yeah. I remember I ate a lot of the Oreo ones, like a lot of the
so
Oreo
good.
ones. Yeah. And then like I remember like before we did the swirls, which we'll talk about later, I was like dipping them in the ice cream we have for our shakes, like the sugar-free stuff, and it was just like
insane,
out of this world. Yeah. Just like added like a new level of goodness to them.
That was for sure Casey and I's favorite flavor was the Oreo, and then the one where we did the salted caramel with like the golden Oreo in the middle with like caramel sauce.
That was
insanely
ridiculous
good.
too. Yeah, and like those flew.
Yeah.
So then, so at this point, you were selling mostly in like Saskatchewan. You had like our stores. You had like some like Nutters and health food stores. The health store out in Warman. A few little restaurants, right?
Yeah.
There was that coffee shop, Revolve.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So all like cool local businesses.
Yeah.
And then somewhere along the way, you totally sold out. I'm just kidding. Somewhere then, so like you started getting approached by like stores like. How did it go? Like, because all this, like, I look at it now, and you're across the country, but obviously it doesn't just go from Saskatchewan to like everywhere.
Yeah, you make your fair share of mistakes along the way, but it was kind of, I think it was around December 2018, and we kind of wanted to move into our first facility, which we did out in Martinsville there, and we just said, this is not scalable. Like, there's no way, the labor is way too intensive, and like, we were taking hours to make like an order that would just fulfill your store. And it was like, well, if we want to grow, this isn't sustainable. So we just kind of took a look at it, and it was Casey's idea. We wanted to implement a healthy Krispy Kreme. And that was kind of the vision in mind when coming out with the original glazed donuts we did when we launched around Canada. So we tested a few recipes, and we're like, holy crap, this is amazing. So yeah, we went to my grandma's, and she didn't like it, actually. She was like, oh, I don't think, like, you better tell your stores, like, this isn't going to sell. And so we were like, shit, like we tested it out obviously amongst a few others and they really liked it. So I think it's just the people that are kind of like unfamiliar too with like the protein, baking and different things like that. When you get into like the naturally sourced ingredients is, yeah, it tastes good. Like for example, when you were first starting in the industry, you probably found that even the bars and stuff like that they tasted good then, but now if you tried one now compared to what there's out there, it would be like unmatched.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, it's way different. So
new game.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we took the 2 glazed donuts, the vanilla and chocolate, and we got some interest from your competitor there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Popeyes. And yeah, you know, they brought us into majority of their locations right from the start. And it was like went from 10 stores to like 120 in like 3 weeks. And we were like, holy crap, like how are we going to keep up? I remember Casey and I talking to our landlord, like, we need a bigger building, we need bigger ovens. And he's like, just wait, like, hold up. You know, like, it'll slow down. And we're like, oh, okay. Like, you know.
Yeah, like you don't want to hear that,
Yeah.
but that's also good that he's.
Exactly. It's reality. So,
Yeah.
you know, a couple young guys just, you know, first business together. And it was a learning experience for sure. But we went through that and we had all that hype kind of getting them across Canada. But we had just so many logistical issues with shipping. Obviously, like a baked, fresh, good item that didn't have any preservatives. So the shelf life was only 7 to 10 days in a fridge. So, I mean, the shelf space was a lot of these stores were putting them in the freezer then. And, you know, customers would be like, hey, like I found like ice on my donuts. And it's like, then creates so many questions of you have to thaw it. And then, I mean, you can put it in the microwave and it tastes good. And then there would be like the moldy instances. So there was just a lot of problems that were out of our control. And that's not what you want to be. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, especially, like, you guys were shipping, like, in the summer months and stuff, right? And so you're getting donuts from here way out to, like, you guys had some independents and stuff in Ontario, too, right? And you'd ship them out to these independent stores, and they show up, and maybe half of them have mold, and it's a small store, and they can't afford to cover the cost of some product that goes bad on the way. So then you guys got to pay for it, but you guys are a startup, too.
Exactly.
Just kind of, the difficulties of, like, a natural product, right?
For sure.
People always wonder why there's not more natural options, but it's hard.
Exactly. No, and I remember, for instance, we worked chain. That was our first chain in Quebec. And like shipping out there, you know, everyone wants free shipping. They want this. And it's, as a startup, you're like, oh, okay, like here, hand it over, right? Like you get the best deal, all this kind of stuff. So it's, you know, we're shipping the Express Post, Canada Post. It's getting there in 2 days. It's costing us like $70 to ship it there. By the time you look at your profits and everything, if there's donuts that go bad, you're ending up losing money, and you're just backtracking. So it's
super hard.
It is.
That's why, like, people like you know, from the outside, like, you start a business, you got this cool product everywhere in Canada, like, oh, they must be balling. But like,
exactly,
it's hard, man.
No, that's the first thing. You think someone owns a business and you think they're rich, but there's so much more that goes into it, obviously, as you know.
Yeah. Well, but it's still like, you know, it's the growth trajectory has been super cool to watch. And like, I think what's even cooler than the growth trajectory is how, like, you got all your contacts, all the relationships, you got into all these stores across Canada, and not just supplement stores, right? Like there's like health food stores, grocery stores, there's everything. Yeah. And then you completely changed your business model. Yeah. Like you got all these contacts, all these people, and I don't know if this was on purpose or not, but like now you've got a whole network that can distribute your product. Your brand is known. Yeah. And then you took away the headaches of that natural product and shifted to something that's shelf stable, easy to display. Yeah. It's easy to ship. Yeah. How did that go? Like it was, you know?
Yeah, it was crazy. Like I remember last summer we were kind of talking about like, we can't keep doing it the way we're doing. So we were actually testing out these bags that we have now, but in just like a smaller version. And I think Casey posted it on her story a few weeks ago, just saying like the before and after where it kind of originated from. But we tried that out, and we're making like individual donuts, but we weren't putting the glaze in it. So we were like stuffing them. Yeah. But again, it was way too labor intensive, and it only prolonged the shelf life like 3 or 4 days. So it went from, you know, 10 to 14. It's like we needed to be like 6 months without adding preservatives. So we kind of looked at it, and we're just, I mean, the donuts were really cool. You know, it's trendy, it's fun, it's who really can have like a healthy donut that tastes that good. Like I've tried other protein donuts and like gluten-free donuts, and
yours were the best.
Yeah. Like
I'll say it. So
like we got a lot of compliments on them, and people really did love them. And you know, we got some backlash when we first, I guess, mentioned that we wouldn't be doing them anymore and kind of transitioning into this. But since then, it's just been like, you know, you kind of take it for granted, the fact that when you don't get any complaints, but it's just like, we were just so accustomed to getting like 3-4 messages a day. Hey, like I received my order and it's moldy. Hey, like it sat out in the sun all day and I wasn't home. It's melted and all the glaze is off. It's like, well, I mean, these just were problems that were so reoccurring. And when we made that switch, it just made our life so much easier. And obviously there was people, stores, retailers that were kind of hesitant to bring us back in with like a new product and kind of having to reestablish ourselves in the industry. But we kind of went from dealing with almost like supplement stores to kind of putting our focus into more like grocery and like where this product would fit into better. So since we've kind of leaned in towards that, we found a lot more success.
Yeah, because like it is a better fit for a grocery store now. Like we're still like super proud to carry the products and we love them, and they still sell to our customers, especially like the keto ones and the plant-based ones and stuff. Yeah. But like for the most part, our store customers are looking for protein treats, right? Sure. Whereas like this fits perfectly on a grocery section where somebody's looking for a healthier item. Yeah. And that's a bigger market anyways.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of just to touch on the last point there is from the transition from the donuts, it was, you know, we really took pride in our branding and marketing, and it was really hard to market something that, you know, it looked delicious when it came out of the oven. It was freshly glazed, but when it arrived to the customer, the glaze was melted and there would be, you know, some would be like in half. I remember we sent a picture or a package down to the States, you know, just for a test run. And the guy sent us a picture. He was like, is this how it should be? And it was literally just, it looked like potatoes. It was just all mashed up. And we're like, no, that is absolutely not how it's supposed to look. So,
well, you're right. Like, cause your marketing and your presentation and your branding, it's all so clean and like fun and bright colors, and it looks so good. Yeah. And then, if you've got stuff showing up looking smushed or like it just got all messed up, that doesn't fit the brand. People would be very disappointed from what they saw to what they got.
For sure. And that's, you know, you can't let your customers down like that. And it's always all about the customer. So, you know, Casey does all of our branding and marketing and like does an excellent job at that. But it was really hard for him to gather content and stuff like that for these donuts. And it was a clamshell package that, you know, you're getting from your local wholesale club. It was like not picture like Instagram trendy. So when we release these products, you know, he does all the design himself. So we save a lot of money that way, obviously not having to outsource things like that. And you take a look at our Instagram, it's all really clean, colorful. And that's probably one of the biggest compliments we get is our branding. You know, our colors really stand out on like a grocery store retailer shelf. So kudos to him. He does a fantastic job.
Yeah, he really does. Cause like this would be a tough market to break into, right? Because like, especially the grocery side, like when it's in our stores, like our customers trust our staff and we can talk to them and we can steer them to a product that's good and that they're going to like, even if maybe the packaging isn't perfect, right? Because they're going to trust the opinion of the people who have tried it. But when it's sitting on a grocery shelf by itself with nobody to direct you towards it, your packaging has to have that conversation with the customer for you. Sure. It's got to sell itself.
For sure. No, that's exactly it. And that's what we said when we released these was that, you know, there's thousands of people going into a grocery store at a time, and you know we don't have the cash flow and you know capital to have competitive prices to these massive companies. So you know ours is a little bit more expensive, but we do use top of line ingredients. Our packaging is really stands out and it catches consumers' attention. And now with COVID and everything like that, people are spending less time in stores. And you really have to stand out because people's attention span is so short.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're getting in and out. But on that same token with COVID, like people are looking for healthier things now. And like I think there's more coming out, or people are seeing more of like the evidence of how much like too much sugar can negatively affect your immune system and just your overall health. And people are probably much more likely to opt for a healthier option, even if it's more expensive than they would have been before all of this.
Exactly. Yeah. And we've seen, obviously, at first it was when COVID first hit, we were just kind of getting into the like Sobeys of the world and things like that. So with a lot of these big stores, they require like a really long process of getting into with like listing fees and like product reviews and everything. So it kind of put our business on a halt for I would say like a month or two. But since then, we've seen like a lot of growth and as far as like new stores and just reorders and everything like that with people looking for more health conscious snacks. Even myself, I've tried to eat a lot more plant-based foods since COVID hit, and my body's felt a lot better. So
yeah, I'm not doing the plant-based thing, but like I'm eating better too. And like I take I do not miss like my vitamin C and my vitamins and stuff now because like I'm still going to the gym. I work in a retail store where I see people, and like, I don't think any of that stuff is a cure for COVID by any means, but like, I want to give my body everything I can, that if I got it, I can just fight it off or whatever, you know?
Exactly.
Just like, why not be healthy?
Exactly.
Yeah, it definitely helps. So like you mentioned, there were some challenges with like getting into like Sobeys and the big grocery chains and stuff like that. Have you guys kind of navigated those at this point, or is it still like difficult, like sourcing or supplying products to that big of a chain?
Yeah, it's actually really nice how we got into the Sobeys. So they do a lot of the grocery chains here do like a local listing program. So you don't have to pay like the upfront fees. Like for example, like Save On Foods charges $4,000 a SKU just to get your products listed. That's without even getting a single order yet. So obviously, as a startup in cash flow and things like that, that's always a little bit difficult of a task. So with Sobeys, it was the matter of just getting them the product. They loved it, loved that we were from Saskatoon. So it was a pretty quick turnaround, and we've seen the product move really well there. So I think we're in 23 of 25 stores in Saskatchewan under the Sobeys banner.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the only ones we aren't in are like the Nipawin and another one where like our products probably wouldn't move too well there anyway. So
Smaller markets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then are you in Safeway as well?
Yeah.
Getting Safeway's owned by Sobeys, right?
Yeah.
They're the same.
So Sobeys, Safeway, and IGA. So I think there's only a few IGAs, Humboldt and Emerald Park, and we're in both those. So, yeah.
Sweet. And so you got in just before COVID.
Before COVID.
And you moved into a new facility to keep up with this, right? Was that right before COVID, or was that a while before?
That was a little bit before. So we moved back in November. Now we're in the city here. We were previously in Martinsville. And our kitchens were like our offices were attached to the kitchen before. So we would always have to, walk in and go through the kitchen in order to go to our office. And just with like food safety protocols and things like that, that's really not ideal. The door's always opening and things like that. So now we have like our certifications and everything like that. So all of our stuff is like FDA approved, even in our facility, to work with the state stores and retailers. So yeah, we have like 2 levels to our building now. We have like our kitchen and everything, our staff working down there, and then our office are upstairs with, now we actually have a warehouse that we can store product into. So that's really nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so how many staff do you guys have at your company now?
We have 3 in the kitchen at the moment, with Casey and I. And then we have, we actually just hired brokers and sales reps kind of across Canada.
I saw like a little picture of like a Zoom meeting going on or something.
Yeah, that's right. So we had our first Zoom meeting a few weeks back to kind of introduce everyone. And so now we have a rep in BC, Alberta, Ontario, Quebec, and Atlantic. So
what do you have these reps doing? Like, are they contacting like stores and handling accounts for you guys, or is it more to the customers, or like what's their kind of role?
Yeah, so they have had experience with just like the natural food products for a little while now, more than us, obviously. So each one goes in to service the accounts, check up on them, make sure they're doing okay, make sure like the product is placed in like the best possible spot. And then, if they can help us grow and, get new accounts, that's amazing. If so far it's, Casey's a lot of behind the scenes type of guy, as I've kind of like shared on social media and things like that. So he works a ton on like our packaging, marketing, branding, our website and Facebook ads, all that kind of stuff. And I'm more of like the sales outgoing one of the partnership. So up until this point, it's literally just been myself cold calling retailers all over Canada and just sending them out samples. And, a lot of them don't answer right away. You have to get their attention. So
do you keep trying?
I'm aggressive. Yeah, I'm aggressive. Yeah, I don't like to, I don't like a no response. I would rather you just say, hey, this isn't for me. But usually that's not the case and a lot of brands don't really send out samples, which is surprising. So
yeah, I can speak from experience that I'm way more likely to pick up a product for our stores if they send stuff to try first.
For sure. And they get this package, and I think there's been only one out of like a few hundred that have said no because of the taste. And
really?
Yeah. And I took that a little bit personally, but
kidding.
Yeah, but everyone else is, oh, this product's amazing. Like, how can I order it? So it's a really quick sell that way as far as getting it into the store.
Yeah. What didn't they like about the taste?
I honestly can't remember. I was too furious.
Because like the texture was good.
Yeah.
The taste was good. There was no like artificial sweetener taste. Like,
yeah,
what's not to like?
I think their reasoning was they didn't have a big keto following in their store.
Oh, yeah.
And she just said, "Oh, this tastes more like a keto product, and we don't really sell those." So it was fair. Like
Yeah.
a lot of our following is keto,
Yeah.
and like plant based is growing substantially. So that's another huge target audience for us. But even like the dairy free, gluten free, it really targets anyone. It checks all the boxes. And when you're looking at like the Save-Ons, the Sobeys, Co-op, and stuff like that, is when you send them a product like this, it has to kind of hit those boxes in today's market in order to get your foot in the door. So luckily ours does.
Yeah, because it's kind of like a requirement to like for grocery stores to have items to meet those specific needs, right? Like I know like people who have like either celiac or gluten intolerances, like for them, like life is completely different than it was like 10 years ago. You know, they can still find like healthy treats, or they can pretty much eat like any person without celiac would eat.
Yep.
They just have to, it just has to be made differently, but they can have pizza, they can have pasta, they can have anything.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's kind of what one of our like major retailers out in Ontario is they're just like a big natural product, like Whole Foods type online store, Natura Market. And yeah, like you kind of have to separate yourself with there being so many options of like gluten-free, plant-based, keto items out there, that we feel ours is, at the top of the line as far as taste profile goes. So
yeah. So where do you guys want to grow it to from here? Like, are you wanting to focus on Canada as the primary market, or are you wanting to take it like international, or what's like the big picture goals?
yeah, right now I think we're just creeping up on 300 stores in Canada. I think our goal, hopefully by Christmas time, is to be over that 1,000 mark. And it's obviously that sounds like a substantial growth. It's like 700
It's
stores.
exponential though, right? Like
Yeah. Like you get into some of those larger retailers where it's like we've been talking a lot with Federated Co-op, and we hope to launch in them in November. And like, for example, they send out an email and have access to 600 stores just like that. So it can really be just like that. And then from there, it's a matter of, can we fulfill this order? Do we we're making thousands of bags of cookies, or 6 cookies in a bag a day right now. So to answer your question, we actually just ordered our U.S. packaging on this last packaging run. We had to order. Yeah. So it actually looks a little bit cleaner too, because part of the regulations, you don't have to have French on your label.
Oh yeah, bilingual.
No bilingual.
That gets in the way for us a lot, because we can't bring in products that we would like to, because they don't have French.
Yeah. So we are shipping our first pallet down to Amazon next week. So we're hoping that obviously they'll be a big retailer for us. You can only order in the U.S. though, and in Mexico. So we're kind of putting our focus into that as far as the U.S. goes. And then we've had some interest from some just independent retailers down there. So at least now we have the option to ship them down some U.S. compliant packaging.
Yeah, so they can actually be selling stuff that's like legit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is sweet. And I like that you're doing Amazon in the States more so than Canada.
Yeah,
we cut off all the people that, because man, they're tough to compete with. But I also totally get it from the side of making a product, why you got to put it on Amazon, especially in the States.
Yeah,
in the States, they're like a different beast compared to here.
And that's like, we obviously are from Canada. We launched in Canada. It's cool to have a Canadian-made product. It's a selling feature in a lot of the retailers here. Yeah. So launching down to the U.S., obviously, it's a whole different ball game. With no one knows who you are, I mean, I don't know if they really care that you're made from Canada. I'm sure some people do, but a lot of them don't even really, think of Canada when it comes to anything. They have everything in the States. So I guess our goal is to launch into hopefully like Whole Foods in Canada later on this year. Like stores like that, though, it's actually like a really long period. Like they have a category review once a year. So I remember I emailed their guy back in like January. He said, check back with me in August and we'll talk. So it's August now, so hopefully
hoping for an answer.
Yeah, hoping for an answer. But
that's a long wait.
It's a long wait, yeah. So a lot of those big retailers just have like such a long review period. So that's kind of why you see those brands. It looks like they just blow up kind of at once. And it's like, well, I mean, they've been working at it for like a year and a half behind the scenes, and it's just a matter of getting that PO for the first time. So
yeah. So are you guys ready to scale your business to like accommodate all this if it happens? Like if it goes the way you want to? Yeah. So like, who do you guys have that you like kind of like you just figure it out, or do you guys have people that like help you, or do you got like stuff you read, or where do you guys get your kind of mentorship from?
Yeah, actually our landlord that helped us out with our first building, has answered a lot of our questions. He worked in kind of our same type of industry, but he was working with grain. So he just knew like a lot of people in our industry, kind of obviously knows what it takes, being a startup and stuff like that with, cash flow, operating. And he basically helped us find our second building as well. And, we haven't really talked. I would love to talk to more people, honestly, about it. In our space, we actually just kind of connected with a few business owners out in Ontario that own like similar companies to ours. And it's always kind of a weird conversation, right? Because you don't want to reach out to your competitor, but at the same time, you kind of want to know, like,
when like you do want to share information,
yeah,
but, like, you also don't want
yeah, you're like, do you want to sign an NDA before we talk?
I know. I always struggle with that, with like talking to other supplement store owners, because like I like chatting with like other owners across the country, learn what's working for them, share what's working for us. But like
it's tough.
Yeah, because you like the selfish party who doesn't want to like share your little
for sure
insights, but it's give and take. You got to support other people, and it goes both ways.
Yeah, for sure. So
like, who do you guys like look up to in like your kind of category? Like, who's leading the way for functional, healthy foods?
I would say that, like I said before, a lot of our following is keto. Yeah. So kind of like a similar option would be like the Love Good Fats bars. Yeah. Her name's Susie York. She's based in Ontario, and she has just exploded.
Yeah, like, I've seen her stuff.
And like, you look at Smart Sweets and things like that are kind of a similar option. It's a healthy candy or a healthy cookie.
Yeah. Yeah, she did amazing too.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name. Do you know
Tara.
it? Tara. Okay, yeah. Yeah, and she's just like everywhere now.
Yeah.
Was she a Dragon's Den person? Yeah.
Yeah, she was Dragon's Den, and I think she's in like 23,000 stores now. She did like $58 million in sales last year. Like, it's kind of, and it's, I know she's already gotten offers, like big offers from some bigger companies and things like that. So, I mean, it's people like that we look up to and aspire to be like. But yeah, I guess to kind of touch on before, it's, we've gotten interest from some international distributors out in Kuwait and things like that too. So it would be nice to see this product kind of all over the world.
So is there like a big market for like plant-based keto stuff in like those other areas? Like Kuwait, was that Middle East or where is it? Yeah.
I remember the guy talking to Casey, and he said like, we need these down here for the World Cup. Like, really? I think in 2022 or something like that, the World Cup was coming to one of their cities, or and he was like, we need these down here. Like, we would go crazy with them. So we were like,
really?
And that was with the donuts.
You guys need to go to the World Cup if your product's there.
Yeah, no, that would be
crazy.
Sweet. That would be really cool. So obviously with COVID and everything like that, it kind of put a halt. We were talking with this guy, and it was like, we were getting everything set up, ready to go, and all of a sudden it was, hey, we're on lockdown. Like, we need to stop talking almost. Like,
international business kind of like a lot of it almost halted, right? Like anything that wasn't like essential kind of got put on the back burner, it seems like.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. So how much do you think like starting in Saskatoon helped you guys? Like, do you think that was like a factor in your success?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look at like the cost of living, rent here and everything like that, even buying local ingredients and stuff like that. It's probably the most economical of anywhere in Canada. Like, for instance, we were talking to a company owner out in Ontario the other day, and we were just kind of laughing about how, we wish we were out in Toronto. Like, obviously it's a sweet city, and he was just like, no, I'm super jealous you guys have a manufacturing facility out in Saskatchewan. Like, it's super cheap. Like, what do you guys pay out there? And we were telling him, he's like, wow, like I pay literally like triple the cost just to do the same thing out here. So it makes you think like, wow, we were pretty lucky to, I guess, start something out here. And, hopefully our plan is to, since we do make the product right now, we're kind of going back and forth because there's so much not headache, but just a lot to look after manufacturing your own product. Yeah. Obviously you save some cost that way. But we don't want to, I guess, be based in Saskatoon forever. Okay. I think we could really kind of be located anywhere. It's just a matter of, do we want to make our product and take all this cost of like our ovens, packaging machines and things like that, and bringing them and starting a whole new factory somewhere else? Or can we just, send all our ingredients down to somewhere and they just make the product and send it to a distributor?
Outsource your manufacturing, basically.
Yeah, because there's, you have to look after staff, you have to look after day-to-day operations every day, just shipping out your product. And, if obviously you're saving a lot more margin to begin with that way, but as you kind of grow, like we're making, 1,500 to 2,000 packs a day in our building right now, with the capabilities of doing more. But that kind of just makes, we don't want to be sitting on a ton of product if it's, you know, not out the door like in the next few days.
Yeah, you want to sell fresh stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, like some of those, when you're outsourcing the product like that, you know, they're doing runs of 30 to 50,000 to 100,000 units at a time. So it's like, okay, do we have, you know, the capabilities to sell 100,000 units in the next week? Like, I hope so soon, but not right now.
Yeah, yeah. See, I've always thought Saskatchewan is like a great place to do business. Like,
it is.
Like even like the factors you talked about, and then like it just seems like our economy is so like stable compared to a lot of other places. And then just like people here are awesome. Like it seems like people just like rally behind other good people. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
I've seen so many awesome people like start local companies here,
Yeah.
and I just like the support they get and the word of mouth advertising they get, like including. I received that from the community. They helped me so much. And like, I always wonder, like, would that have happened somewhere else? You know, like if you're in like a bigger city and like maybe like not as tight knit of a community, would you get that same like help, that same push from everybody?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you would. I've always kind of thought that like, if we would have started somewhere different, I don't know if it would have worked.
Yeah.
But that's just for us. Like, it's a pretty different business model.
No, I would agree with you. Like you guys had, you know, everyone. You guys were the first person to do shakes, so it was like
those exploded.
They exploded. Like I remember my dad coming home and being like, "Look what I have," and it was like, oh, "What the hell is this?" You know, like this healthy protein shake. Like, what is this?
Your dad. I think this is so cool that like you know like we're carrying your products now because your dad was like one of like our first like big supporters.
Yeah,
he also ate more protein bars than probably anybody on earth. I would love to like see if there's anybody who's eaten more bars than your dad or me. It would be close between us.
Yeah, he's had his fair share for sure. I remember playing hockey and stuff like that, and that was before I kind of was into like being healthy or into like fitness or anything like that. And he'd be like, you know, I just picked up like 6 cases of protein bars. Like, you want some? And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, he would load up. He'd come in, and then we had Landon Crowder working for us at the time. And for people who don't know him, he's just kind of like very outgoing, like unique character, like just funny. And your dad and Landon would just roast each other for about 20 minutes, and then he would just leave with like 6 boxes of bars. And it was like a weekly thing. It was so funny.
Every week.
Yeah. But like, man, they would roast each other. Yeah. It was funny. But yeah, I just like, I don't know. I think like Saskatoon is like such a good place for like startup businesses. And like something else that I think is cool is like, you know, like both of us, our companies have grown outside of just Saskatoon.
Yeah.
And people like still support it. Like it's not like they're like there's like this feeling of people like wanting you to only be in Saskatoon. It's almost like they like support it more as it grows.
Yeah, for sure. And that was kind of one thing with even like expanding into other provinces and things like that with the donuts is when we went from doing like the decorated donuts to the glazed donuts, you know, some local people, we kind of got some backlash like, hey, I buy these all the time. Like, I want the fun and exciting flavors every month. Like, that was so cool. And it was like, I understand, but like physically, you won't be able to buy them anymore if we just keep doing it the way it is.
Because you'll be out of business.
Because we'll be out of business. Yeah.
And were they pretty understanding when you explained it?
Kinda. Some people were. You know, I would say majority were.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, you get the 1 or 2 odd customers that are like, what? No, we want this. And it's like, well, I mean, we can't just make it specifically for you.
But it's a compliment. It means they love your product,
for
right?
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I could, you know, if somebody was hooked on the Oreos on the top and that's why they liked them, then whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just know when we launched them and people heard that they were like from Saskatoon, people were so much more likely to grab them because like it's like, check out these new cool donuts. Like they're super good. They're from Saskatoon and they're healthy. And people are like, oh, like they're made here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. I'll try them.
Yeah.
Like just like because they're local, willing to give it a shot.
Sometimes you kind of forget how big that local support is. And then you kind of look at other provinces and you're like, why isn't that store doing as well as, you know, and it's pretty unfair to compare like a store or like a Sobeys or like your store compared to like an independent store out in BC or whatever, right? It's like we have that local connection here and you don't even really realize how many people are just buying your product just because it's local.
They want to support.
They want to support.
Yeah. It's like a unique advantage to being from like a smaller place because like a lot of people think of the disadvantages, you know, like there's less people, there's less money overall.
Yeah.
But like there's a lot of huge upsides as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so you brought packs of the new lemon cookie. I asked for these. He didn't just do it out of the kindness of his heart. And I wanted to try one, and I'm going to try not to chew into the mic. But tell us like a little bit about what's actually in your cookies first.
Yeah. You can see on here we got almond flour. The first two ingredients are almond flour and organic virgin coconut oil. So obviously this one has lemon juice, but all the recipes stay the same amongst the cookies with just the switches of a few ingredients. Like you compare this one to like the peanut butter, and it's simply switching out the lemon juice and poppy seeds for just peanut butter. Same goes for chocolate chip. Same goes for snickerdoodle with cinnamon. So we wanted to keep the all natural, and obviously the selling features here are like the MCT oil, which is derived from coconut oil, almond flour, obviously keeping it gluten free, and then like there's only 1 gram of sugar in the product, and that comes from just the almond flour.
Sweet. Okay, I'm gonna try one. I don't want to wait anymore.
Yeah, we've gotten some. We sent out to about like 30 to 50 people, kind of before the launch, to get them posting about it for our launch yesterday.
Yeah.
And we've gotten some really good feedback. They're a super summery flavor. They're really light and refreshing.
They're super good.
Yeah. So we're really excited about it. I think it's a lot different than our other flavors. Like, for example, I was just talking to Chris over at Blairmore yesterday, and he was just hit the nail on the head with saying your flavors are so diverse as far as, you got your chocolate chip, peanut butter, and snickerdoodle and lemon. So it kind of hits every target as far as, it's not just a chocolate, double chocolate, triple chocolate. It's like, kind of how you see some protein powders or things like that, right? You want to have like a wide variety. So you can't obviously focus on everyone, but if you have an option for kind of everyone, that's ideal. So
yeah, it's like super soft. It's like, I know people hate this word, but it's moist. Like, it's like,
it is.
It's really good. Like, it's not dry at all.
Yeah.
It's not like super lemony where it's like over the top. It's like very light.
Yeah. It's really light. It's a lot different than the other flavors. So
yeah, and like I just really like the texture of all your cookies. That's the part that like I really like. It's like they're almost like cookie dough. They're so soft.
Yeah, we do a soft bake more so we don't obviously bake them as long as you would like, I wouldn't say a regular cookie, but obviously just a minute or so less.
Yeah.
And we wanted to come out with like a summery type package too. Obviously being the bright yellow, that's like one of the biggest compliments we get is the colors. So having like a new cool yellow package on the page obviously really brightens things up. And the lemon poppy seed, seen the success of like the Good Fats bars they had with their lemon flavor in their bar, and we just heard from a lot of stores that lemon's like one of the most sought after like keto products. So tried out a few recipes and we're like, hey, this is super good, so let's do it.
Yeah, well, it worked out for you. So did this officially launch today or
yesterday?
Yeah. So yesterday was the official launch. I think we've got it in all of our Saskatoon stores.
That's right.
And then we're gonna get it in all the other ones probably early in the week.
Yep.
So I'm excited to hear what people think.
Yeah.
Super cool. It's super cool seeing you guys just like explode across the country. Never like, not that I ever doubted you, but I just never like envisioned it being this big when you guys came to us selling those donuts off the start. It's absolutely insane where it's grown to, man.
It's just crazy how much has changed too. Without like, obviously we didn't have this in mind when we started it, or obviously we would have just did that from the start. But
yeah. Well, you guys did an amazing job like navigating through like those headaches and shifting to a totally different business model. I think it's sweet. I think it's a pretty like inspiring story. I hope people liked hearing it, and I appreciate you coming and doing this, man.
Thanks a lot for having me, Josh.
Yeah, you bet.